This is Black Views, bringing you the Black News.
And y'all got to keep up with me. I'm making a lot of turns and moves right now, a lot of interviews in other countries, so they happen when it's morning to us is evening over there. Big shout out to everybody over in the entire continent of Africa, all my folks in the UK. I don't forget about you. Folks down in Australia, New Zealand, checking in with me. I'm glad that y'all stayed up late just so you could tune in to the Morning Mental, even though it's not morning there. So we had to do the sleep in late edition because I had an interview that happened in the middle of that, but that doesn't let you off the hook this morning. Who are your enemies? Do you know them? You know, I'm going to address a few things this morning that are relevant to what's happening in the world today, that maybe they kind of got past you on the radar. You're on your morning mental. I'm giving you some things to think about as you go through your day. That's the purpose of the morning mental. So if you find yourself in a place where the shoe fits, just put them on and jump on the track with me as we continue to roll on out. First thing I want to bring to your attention, in case you hadn't heard, that 8 Marines were hurt in an accident, a training accident. One was killed in California. This happened yesterday. They said it was an accident. Apparently somebody drove an amphibious vehicle into another one, and they started taking on water. And one individual died, and 7 were rescued. You know, accidents happen, people, even to our best. And our Marines are our frontline fighters in the military. So accidents can happen to anybody. In case you hadn't heard that story, that's breaking news on CNN this morning. My condolences goes out to the family of the individual that was lost, and may the other 7 Marines get better quickly. Devil dogs. So now I got to kind of pivot, because I understand when you have handlers. I understand what it means when someone is holding your leash. I understand what it means when you got a boss to answer to. No matter how strong you talk, no matter how you stick your chest out, you got somebody to answer to. And because of that, you're only going to go so far. It's just like what I taught you about law. Law only works as long as the people give it power. When the people say we're not obeying that law, like tomorrow, if everybody said the hell with stop signs, we're just going to take our chances, and everybody did it, then the law is ineffective. Nobody's obeying the motherfuckers, no law. Well, it's the same thing when we talk about people who are being held on a leash. And you can tell when they're being held on a leash because they do things that are limited or controlled, or there is someone who's showing you that they're exerting control over them. And you know it. You can tell by their body language. You can tell by their actions. You can look how something that seems logically moving this way suddenly goes this way. Someone is pulling the strings, and it's not them. And sometimes you have to really wonder how deep those chains are. You have to think about it, because it's one thing for someone to pull your chain. It's another thing for them to make you dance on the end of it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, y'all remember the old cowboy movies where the bad guy would come in with his boys, and they pick on some innocent dude and they tell him to dance. And if he didn't, they start shooting at the floor at his feet so he would dance. And you sitting back like, they could have never done that shit to me. You know what I'm saying? But there's people in life like that. They're all around you. And they might be it's just one-on-one. Oh, they in power. But when the boss show up, we could be having a ball, just kick back, maxing and relaxing. Everybody doing their own thing. Ain't nobody bothering nobody. And all of a sudden, somebody will walk in and say, yo, man, they saying that so-and-so coming next week. We got to clean up the joint. Now you got to make the place look not like it normally looks, but it's got to look better so that the person that's apparently got power over you has a good time. I bid you all a grand rising and shalom. You're on the part 2 of the morning mental. The enemy. Do you know him? Now, sometimes those chains are pulled right in front of your face and you see it. Now, see, most people, when I say the term enemy, you think of someone you're at odds with. No, someone can be your enemy simply if they are at odds with your beliefs or at odds with your view of the world. Someone can become an enemy simply because you hold a certain thought in your head. For instance, I'm about black liberation. I am about the development of a black nation. I am about the advancement of the black civilization. You see, some people cannot get with that. So rather than try to understand, well, why would he say something like that? Let's take a look at history. Let's look at the facts. Let's see if we can reasonably come to a conclusion as to why he feels that way. And then maybe we can find a way to alleviate that so he can be a productive member of society. No, y'all don't have them thoughts. Instead, y'all have these thoughts. Oh, we're going to kill him. Oh, we're going to lynch him. Oh, we got to wipe him out. Oh, we can't let that happen. Oh, they might be better than us. Oh. Now, does that sound like someone who is looking forward to a more advanced civilization where we can rise to technological heights and spiritual heights and developmental heights that we have yet to achieve? No, that sounds like the words of a barbarian. It sounds like the words of a wild man. It sounds like the words of a half man, half animal. It sounds like a paranoid man. It sounds like a creature that is so afraid of its own existence being dominated by another race or another form of life that they will do anything and everything to prevent that from happening. Can I talk to y'all this morning? We are on the morning mental. Brother, you know I'm talking. Sister, you know I'm talking. And if this shoe fits, wear it. It's one thing for them to pull your chain. It's another thing for them to make you tap dance in front of us. Now, then again, there are some people who are so far out of alignment with the Most High, who you should give some praise to right now. We should pause right here and give them all praise to the Most High. You should stop what you're doing. Give praise to the Most High. I'm on my morning mental. Now, there are some of you all who still practice the ancient forbidden practice of idolatry. You idolize some people, these entertainers and athletes. You idolize them. They can do no wrong, not in your eyes, because you've given that part of your soul to them. You'll fight and die for them. Oh, you'll roll up on people for them. You will paint your bodies. You'll cut your hair. You'll try to look like them, walk like them, talk like them. And if you can't, then you'll attack them. You're idolizing. When the only one you should be idolizing is the Most High, or the things that he sets in motion. So you can imagine my surprise when I heard about, and I'm just stating facts here, that Beyonce was about to drop a new album that was supposed to be geared toward black people. And I said, well, the themes are black. And she says it's targeting the dark audience. So that's a good idea. And then I looked at who was behind it. And it was Walt Disney. Well, once again, that struck me because I did not understand. I didn't understand. And then I began to realize what was going on. You see, money will make you do a lot of crazy shit. Point blank. So the financial deal that had to be done between the Beyonce empire and the Disney empire to release or re-release the soundtrack to The Lion King, but make it blackified, as I'm going to go ahead and call it, blackified, but have Disney behind it, again, is the same thing what they did with Black Panther. This was a movie that was supposed to be about a fictitious way that we should have been. But Disney, that was a Disney movie, okay? They let a lot of black people act in it. Yeah, they let a lot of black people help write the story, made the clothes, all of that. But it was still a Disney. If you got the DVD or the Blu-ray, as soon as you pop it in, what's the first thing you see? The castle with the do-do-do-do, right? It's a Disney flick. So when I saw this, I went, well, Are they dangling? Is there a chain involved here? What's going on here? Because at the same time that was going down, I then found out that Serena Williams, yes, you know, the famous tennis star, she gave $4.5 million to U.S. schools for mass, which immediately raised two questions for me. You're giving mass, $4.5 million worth of mass to schools in America. I just have to ask, how many of those masks are going to poor schools and poor neighborhoods? And, you know, and matter of fact, last time I checked, you play tennis. Who's making these masks? See, I've always begun to peel because I'm looking at an individual that I'm sorry, she's a great athlete, but I'm sorry. That's all I got to say. My people know what I'm talking about. I got to go into your business. I don't do that. But now you're making this effort toward the mask. Who's behind this? Because all these white corporations is trying their best to try to say, I was part of the solution. They think they can buy their way into it. What we need is some laws change. What we need is some land redistribution. What we need is some money redistribution. What we need is some people let out of this unfair system. That's what we need. We don't need you to buy masks through a black athlete and say you're doing your part. We don't need you to have a black singer to make a black album, you know, paying them a lot of money just so you can seem like you all right. You understand what I'm saying? Always look at who's behind the curtain. And when I look behind the curtain, oh my God, who's your enemy? Do you know him? So I did a little digging and I found out that the company Bella Canvas was behind this. So I said, oh, Bella Canvas. I said, well, maybe let me go and check out Bella Canvas to make sure they are on the up and up. And what I found was rather interesting because the thing that blew my mind was, well, they're a company that makes a lot of different things, but they have a special relationship with a certain organization. And they don't hide it. It's on their website. You can go look at it. What was interesting was, I'm not sure what genius put this together, but they need to go and walk him off of a plank. You know why? Because this idiot published the entire infrastructure of financial distribution of funds that are donated to, you guessed it, Black Lives Matter, which of course instantly grabbed my attention. I said, Black Lives Matter involved in this? And what this is like somebody left the book open, because the very first thing it says that if you're looking to expand your knowledge of the Black Lives Matter movement and its purpose, below are the resources depending on the avenue you prefer to learn. I said, oh, let me indulge this. And as I scan down, first thing it says is where to donate. So I go, where donate? Okay, so I thought I came here to expand my mind, but the first thing you want to do is ask me for some loot. Look, I'm just telling y'all how this shit tracked down. Okay, I didn't go looking for this. I went trying to find out who the white company was that Serena was going to give this money to that was supposed to make these masks to send to American schools. That's what I wanted to know, because are these going to poor black neighborhoods? But then I started looking at where to donate. Now listen to this. The official George Floyd Memorial Fund. We're still donating to that. I Run with Maud. Y'all remember that one? Mm-hmm. Justice for Breonna Taylor. That's interesting. I was involved in that whole piece down in Louisville. I didn't hear about this, but now I know where to donate. Reclaim the Block. Reclaim the Block. Okay. Black Visions Collective. Who's the Black Visions Collective? Campaign Zero. You mean Sean King? So I'm looking at these. I'm looking at this and I'm going, who came up with this list? Oh, because they're all under the BLM umbrella. Mm-hmm. Why collect the money in one way when you can get it in seven? I'm just telling you what I found. Don't get mad at me. Now, it goes on to say that Bella Canvas has donated $70,000 to the official George Floyd Memorial Fund, Black Visions Collective, and Campaign Zero. How much of that money made it to the Floyd family? I don't know what Black Visions Collective has done. And Campaign Zero, we found out that money was going to who? The DNC, right? Okay. Then it goes on to give some stuff for what you should read, which I thought was a rather interesting reading list, a list of movies that you need to go watch, what podcast to listen to. And at the very end, it says Bella Canvas Resources, looking for a specific product, as if somebody lifted this from another page, planted it on their page. They probably didn't even know what the hell was being put up there, and now they have their name tacked to the end of it. So, a relationship established between these folks and the organization BLM, and the front doors for 7 areas to donate money in the name of everything that's black man, black woman, and some other things, and even some stuff for you to donate money if you want to contribute to a political campaign. So that in turn made me back out, and I backed away from this, and I said, so let me go all the way back to the beginning. And at the beginning, I'm looking at Serena Williams. See, most people will just hear that, and that's all the headline says. If you don't learn how the media presents things to you, plausible deniability. We didn't know it was all of that. We were just told you give them 4.5 million masks to the school. No. You all don't understand the structure that's around you. There is another structure. See, they keep you razzled and dazzled with these celebrities. But the truth of the matter is these people couldn't come straight to you. Can you imagine what would happen to Bella Canvas that just came out? We're giving $4.5 million to black communities or to whatever communities for masks. We would, as usual, brothers and sisters would start fighting over who's supposed to get the money. Because that's how petty we are right now. We're in a petty state. Yeah, we're not in the United States. We're in a petty state right now. So y'all would start fighting over that. No, we deserve the money over here. No, bring the money over here. No, my children need masks too. So I don't know if I question their methodology, but it's still something that to me it's insidious. You know, the funny thing about it is I've heard this thing said many times. People say, well, he's a fraud. He's a fraud. I've never collected one dime from anybody. And nobody can come forward and say that. I've only donated money to a lot of causes. I've thrown causes. Hell, we had a party in the Bronx last year with all the hip hop greats. And I not only fed the block, not only did I bring all the entertainment, not only did I do all these things, I also gave school supplies to the kids and all this stuff. It was a great day. But I'm a fraud. Wow. Anyway, this right here smells like there's something going on because I found something that I wasn't looking for. You showed me where the money was going. So guess what? I'll be investigating all of those too. I'll get back to you on that one. That was the first thing I wanted to hit you about. And I just wanted to bring that up that remember what our topic is. The enemy. Do you know him? Especially when he hides behind someone else that you trust. You understand what I'm saying? In order for us to come together, and I got to go ahead and clear this up. I never said all of us would get together. I never said that. That's something you said. He never said that. If you study the books, it says many are called, few are chosen. And a lot of people are just identifying who they are right now, daily. I'm supposed to be a thorn in somebody's side. Our organization is supposed to challenge what you do and not as opposed to what you say. Let me say it again. Our purpose is to challenge what you do as opposed to what you say. So far, it's been a whole lot of talk. I hear a lot of talk from my people. But I'm not seeing the action yet. So when I start seeing everybody everywhere taking action, I know it's time for me to shut the fuck up. But right now, I talk and I back it up with action. So I need to see some action. Otherwise, we're still in the petty department. And we got to get out of petty time. We got to get out of that. So when people come along and start doing things like this, and you don't do the work that you should, and peel back the layers and see who's actually involved in trying to make themselves righteous in your eyes, because that's a defense they're building. So when you confront them for reparations, they'll say, wait a minute. I've been given to so and so. Well, how we didn't know that. Well, go ask so and so. You trust them, don't you? You idolize them, don't you? They'll do it because they love you. They can't help it. Now, before I move on, people ask me all the time, why do I say the time is right now? You see, you don't know the time is right now because you're not into your teachings the way you should be. However, they know it. Matter of fact, they keep throwing things in your face to show you that you don't know. Let me give you all an example. Someone has said to me, they said, well, Jay, where are we right now? We're in the third year of the Great Tribulation. This is the first sign that you got that it began was on September 21st, 2017. We had the great eclipse. You're now deep inside of that. 33 days after that, we had the great sign as foretold in Revelations 12. Y'all remember I did a piece on that, and it actually happened. And it was an alignment of the stars. Now, here we are 3 years in, and all hell is breaking loose, just like it said in the book. Matter of fact, a lot of y'all don't even know what chapter we're in right now. We're in chapter 14 of Revelation right about now. But one of the things that he said in those writings was he will give you signs and wonders in the sky. That's why they spray in the sky. They don't want you to see that. But if I took a flight up real high, and y'all seen the video and you seen what's up there. If you haven't seen the video, go on my YouTube. It's still there. A lot of people have copied it. You probably didn't know that was a video that I paid a pilot to fly me above the usual height that they allow jetliners to fly at, which is around between 35 and maybe 45, 50,000 feet. But above that, it's military. Okay, they're not supposed to be flying you at no 75,000 feet, 90,000 feet. Nope. Not going to happen. So we went way up, and you can watch the video, and you'll see what's up there. I'm not going to talk about it. I filmed it. A lot of people seen it, but no one has ever really asked me about it. Okay, long story short. But one of the things you should be paying attention to is this right here. Y'all heard about this storm that's on the way, if you're in America. It's a hurricane, kind of early, but here it comes. And, it haven't been that strong. It's been cruising along. And it's been getting closer. But what most people haven't paid attention to is the name that they gave it. Can I teach in here? The name that they gave it, Isaias. Not Isaias, Isaias. Isaias is Hebrew for the salvation of God. The name of this hurricane is Hebrew for the salvation of Yahweh, the salvation of Jehovah Jireh, the salvation of Jehovah Nissi, the salvation of Adonai. Why would you name a storm the salvation? Y'all put y'all kickstand down right here. Let's hang out for a second. You can go and Google this for yourself. I'm just trying to put something on your mind for the morning mental. If you hang around in here long enough, you're going to learn something today. Bahamas, it's on its way to you right now. It just cruised past Puerto Rico. But y'all should look at the name. Every other storm has had some plain Jane name like Bob, Harold, Katrina, something like that. No, this one is named the salvation of God. And hurricanes are unpredictable. And sometimes where they originate from, the west coast of the motherland. Some people say they are the spirit of our ancestors coming back to shake shit up one more time. They had an earthquake out in L.A. yesterday, yeah. Y'all paying attention? At the end of the day, I can tell you we're in the last days because the signs are all around you. But some of you are so preoccupied with distractions. Some of y'all are being so razzle-dazzle by the show that they're putting on. And I'll be honest, some of you all cannot even get past. So you're now seeing the type of people that never existed before. We're coming from everywhere. Everybody's starting to become a teacher. Everyone is starting to have dreams. Everyone is starting to have visions. Everyone is starting to prophesy. Whether you share it with your friends or keep it to yourself, every one of us is starting to do it. And I know this is happening because I've talked to a lot of you. That's why a lot of people can't understand a brother like me now. I don't resemble or act like anything you've ever seen before. I don't talk. I don't teach like that. And I don't adhere to all of the framework that has you limited in your purpose. So I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to your soul. And you know it because only his children hear his voice. The rest of you, we have to question who your father is. Everybody claims they're of the Abrahamic bloodline. Really? Please don't get me started teaching here about the three individuals, starting with Joseph. Let's not go there. That will be too deep for you this morning on the Morning Mental. However, the storm is named the salvation of God, and it's on its way to you, United States. Tighten up. I'm going to shift gears one more time, because I had someone write me a very good letter, and I appreciate when people talk intelligently. I respond to intelligent questions. The question that they asked, if you didn't get a chance to see last night when we did Facts Over Feelings, one of the things that I talked about in detail were some of the things that I learned from my conversations with the state of Kentucky surrounding Breonna Taylor. And one of the things that I pointed out, even when I gave the speech that's available online on YouTube, that I gave on the steps of the city hall there of the court in Louisville, was that I let everyone know that because other agencies had gotten involved, there was a longer process, a more thorough process that would happen. And a lot of people came back and they asked me a question, which I think is a valid question. As a matter of fact, I told you that the Creator moves in some very strange ways, because I was already thinking about this, and I thought I'd bring it to the Morning Mental, if that's all right with y'all. If y'all don't mind for a couple of seconds, I really want to put something on your mind and then give you something to think about for real, on top of all the other things. You see, I told y'all I'm caught up right now. I'm cheating on this. I got a side piece over here that I'm cheating with. I'm in love with her, and I know I shouldn't be over there, but I know I shouldn't be going to see her when I'm packing my bag, and I know I should think it over while I'm putting the bag in the car. I know I should talk about this a little deeper with somebody else while I'm driving over there. I know I'm wrong, but I can't resist while I'm getting the bag out the trunk of my car. And I think about it one last time as I'm ringing the doorbell and she opens the door, and I know I shouldn't be there, but I go ahead on in and I'll think about it in the morning, because I'm in a love affair with black people. I'm caught up. I'm cheating with the black folks. Sorry, white people. Can't find me. I'm on the dark side of town. I know I shouldn't be here. I was told I shouldn't be. I was told that they criminals, they thugs, that they lazy, but I'm in love with them. So if you can't find me, I'm turning my phone off, and y'all know how we do, and I'll think about it in the morning. But right now, I'm having a love affair with black folks. So because of that, I have to be truthful with her. I have to be transparent with her. I have to let her have some say-so over how I move. I got to let her run things for a minute, but then I got to come back and stand in my kingship and let her know your king is in the house. You understand what I'm saying? No, this ain't Pimpology 101. This is brother to sister 101. And that's the relationship I'm having with black folks right now. So I have to be truthful with you. I got to tell you some things that you need to know, because we're not going to be able to make it unless I tell you these things. If I keep it inside, it's going to come out another way. The question that was asked to me, and grand rising to all of you, and shalom to everyone else, is they asked me, they said, well, you said, you almost acted like you were pleased that the FBI had gotten involved in the Breonna Taylor case. And given the history of the FBI, how could you be happy? I'm confused. And I said, you know what? You've got a good point. But there's something that he missed, and I had to help him out. But he did give me reason to do something that needs to be done in 2020. Remember, this is the year of hindsight is 2020 vision, right? So we're going to go ahead, and I decided to go and take a look at this for you, because a lot of people just take for granted that when someone says, oh, the FBI is investigating too, you automatically assume that they're doing the same job that the police would do. Well, if you don't understand the history and the origin of the FBI and their relationship with people of color, which would be black folks at that time, then you can actually fall into a false sense of security as to what they actually do, what their mission is, what their charter is, what programs they put in place, and the history of them utilizing them against black people, and them proclaiming that they're getting involved in this particular case. You have to understand the history embedded deep within the civil rights struggle to understand that there's something else at play. Now, the truth of the matter is, you can go to their website and you can read what the standard spiel is. Matter of fact, they've got a question that where they ask you, how does the FBI protect the civil rights of people in the United States? Notice it said protect the civil rights of the people. But the true question, before we dig into that, is, well, wait a minute. When does the FBI investigate a homicide? Now, the answer will blow your mind. If the murder victim is some kind of federal officer, like a federal law enforcement officer, if the murder occurred on federal property that's designated as being under special maritime or territorial jurisdiction, or if it occurred on the high seas, on a ship, as a U.S. registered ship, excluding military. So if you're on a cruise ship, some shit like that, then yes. But then I said, well, wait a minute. If that's the case, how can they be okay, hold up. Let me dig a little deeper. It says, if a specific murder suspect has been identified and an arrest warrant is issued and evidence develops indicating that the fugitive suspect has crossed state lines dodging that arrest warrant, then since murder is one of the specific ones that comes under the unlawful flight to avoid prosecution statutes, then a federal warrant can be issued and the Bureau can then enter the case. That's where you get the top 10 most wanted from. So what they're saying in a nutshell is, watch this, that the state would have to charge someone and then that someone would have to run. Right. Okay, let's look at the picture here, people. So we're going to charge a cop. The cop going to run? I don't think so. There hasn't been a case of that yet. No, the cops bravely charge into the fire because they know their ass is done. Now, so once I read that and I realized what their purpose was, I says, okay, so Breonna wasn't on federal property. She was not a federal employee, I don't believe, and she wasn't in a ship. Okay, and she wasn't, her home wasn't under special maritime or territorial jurisdiction. So I went, okay. So what is the FBI investigating? So then I said, well, let's go back to the civil rights situation. Well, if you look on their website, it states this is how they protect our civil rights. Now, I'm going to read this to you because I don't want to get this wrong because this jumped out at me and I went, whoa. The FBI investigates violations of federal civil rights statutes and supports the investigation of state and local authorities in certain cases. It supports them. Federal and civil rights violations fall into several categories. Hate crimes motivated by bias such as characteristics as race, religion, national origin, and sexual orientation. Color of law crimes involving law enforcement and related criminal justice professionals. Misuse of their rights and discretion such as the use of excessive force, of police misconduct, involuntary servitude, or slavery. Violations of the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, the Equal Opportunity Credit Act, the Freedom Access to Clinic. If the guy can't get the wheelchair in, somebody going to federal prison. The civil rights of institutionalized persons, talking about they just can't say prisoners, right? And then it goes on and on and on and on. Now, even human trafficking. Okay. Now, here's the part that got me. So you're investigating the police officers because they misused their authority. Okay, and so that's a separate investigation next to what the state is doing. Okay, I understand what you're doing here. I got that. And that makes perfect sense to me. I can roll with that too. Because like somebody typed in here earlier, it's a more thorough investigation. But then again, given the history of the FBI, we might find that to be a little questionable that they would do that. Watch this. If you study the history of the FBI, you don't have to go back to its beginnings because it was created for another purpose. You only have to go back as far as the 1950s, the 60s. And you have to focus on a certain individual who came along. And if you study this man's history and you know where he came from, then you will understand why he was destined to become the person that he was and what he did as far as what we now run around calling people agents. This is where it all started. His name is J. Edgar Hoover, and you've heard me mention his name many times before. But what a lot of you don't know, that in August of 1919, he was 24 years old. Can I teach? They made him the head of what was called the Bureau of Investigation's new General Intelligence Division, also known as the Radical Division, because its goal was to monitor and disrupt the work of people they call domestic radicals. Think about it. What the hell was a domestic radical? A domestic radical was someone that they felt was dangerous to the U.S. government. Yeah. They were decided that their job was to punish, arrest, or deport those whose politics they decided were dangerous to the United States.
This is Black View, bringing you the Black News.